The first reaction people had when they saw the giant screen lighting up in the heart of Times Square wasn't confusion, it was disbelief. For a moment, pedestrians slowed down, tourists lifted their phones, and a familiar wave of excitement rippled through the crowd. Then, someone recognized the face on the towering digital billboard. It was Park Jimin. And not just any image of him, it was his breathtaking visual from the newest MV 2.0 era of BTS, a moment so striking that it suddenly became the center of attention in one of the busiest intersections in the world. If you've ever been to Times Square, you know how overwhelming it is. Giant screens compete with each other for attention. Bright lights, advertisements, movie trailers, fashion campaigns, music promotions. Every brand in the world seems to want a piece of that electric atmosphere. And yet, somehow, when Jimin's face appeared on that massive billboard, everything else seemed to fade into the background. People stopped walking, phones went up, and within minutes, social media began to explode. Army members around the world started sharing clips and photos of the moment. Some were taken by fans who happened to be nearby. Others were posted by curious tourists who simply wondered who the man on the screen was and why everyone around them seemed suddenly emotional. But here's the interesting question. Why did this particular moment hit fans so hard? After all, BTS has appeared on countless billboards before. Their faces have dominated music charts, global campaigns, and iconic locations for years. Yet there was something different about seeing Park Jimin alone in such a powerful visual moment. Maybe it was the intensity of the image. In the MV 2.0 scene, Jimin's expression carries a quiet strength, something that feels both vulnerable and confident at the same time. His eyes seem to tell a story, one that fans instantly connect with. It's the kind of visual that doesn't just show a performer, it reveals an emotion. And when that emotion is magnified across a massive digital billboard towering over the streets of New York, it becomes something almost cinematic. Some fans online described the moment simply. It felt unreal. Others said something even more interesting. They said it felt like a symbol. Because for many longtime fans, watching Park Jimin appear on such a monumental screen in one of the world's most famous locations represents more than just promotion. It represents a journey. Think about where everything began. Years ago, BTS debuted with modest expectations. The group came from a smaller company compared to the giants of the K-pop industry. They faced skepticism, criticism, and a music market that wasn't always ready for something different. Back then, could anyone have imagined that one day the face of one of their members would shine across the towering billboards of Times Square? It sounds like something from a dream, and yet, here we are. But there's another layer to this moment that makes it even more fascinating. Park Jimin has always had a unique presence within BTS. His artistry blends powerful dance technique with delicate emotional expression. Whether he's performing an intense choreographic sequence or delivering a soft vocal line, there's something unmistakably captivating about him. Fans often say he doesn't just perform a song, he becomes the feeling of the song. That's why visuals like the one featured in MV 2.0 resonate so deeply. It's not just about aesthetics, it's about storytelling. And storytelling is exactly what great music videos aim to achieve. If you watch closely, the imagery around Jimin in this era feels carefully crafted. The lighting, the atmosphere, the pacing of the scene, all of it seems designed to emphasize a mood rather than simply show a performance. It raises an interesting thought. Was this moment always meant to be larger than the screen? When fans noticed the MV visual appearing on a billboard in Times Square, some started wondering if this was part of a bigger strategy. After all, the intersection of music, visuals, and public spaces has become a powerful way to amplify cultural moments. When a K-pop star's image appears in such a global landmark, it sends a message that travels far beyond the physical location. Tourists photograph it, locals talk about it, online communities turn it into a shared experience. Suddenly, one image becomes a global conversation, and that's exactly what seemed to happen here. Within hours, clips of the Billboard spread across fan communities. Comments poured in from different countries. Some fans said they wish they had been there in person. Others joked that even the bright lights of Times Square couldn't outshine Jimin's visuals. But beneath the excitement, there was also something more reflective happening. Many fans began discussing how much Park Jimin has grown over the years. Remember the early performances where he pushed himself relentlessly on stage? The moments when he talked openly about his insecurities and the pressure he placed on himself to improve. Those memories are still vivid for longtime supporters. Seeing him now, confident, polished, and commanding a giant screen in one of the world's most iconic locations, feels almost like watching the final scene of a long narrative arc. It raises another question. What does success actually look like for an artist like Jimin? Is it chart rankings, album sales, global recognition, or is it moments like this, unexpected glimpses of how far the journey has come? Interestingly, people who happened to walk through Times Square that day but weren't familiar with BTS also shared their reactions online. Some simply asked, "Who is he?" Others commented on how striking the visual looked even without context. And that might be one of the most powerful aspects of the moment. You don't necessarily have to know the full story to feel its impact. A compelling visual can speak on its own. It can make someone pause, even in the middle of a city that never slows down. And that's exactly what happened. The crowd moved, traffic flowed, advertisements changed every few seconds, but for a brief moment, thousands of eyes looked up at the same screen and saw the same image, Park Jimin, standing there in quiet intensity. For fans watching from across the world, the moment felt symbolic. For casual passerbys, it was simply a striking image in a sea of lights. But for the global community that has followed BTS over the years, it represented something bigger, proof that music can travel farther than anyone expects. And perhaps that's why these moments resonate so deeply, because they remind us how art moves through the world in unpredictable ways. A performance filmed in one place can appear on a giant screen thousands of miles away. A song recorded in a studio can reach someone who has never heard the language before. A single visual can turn a crowded street into a shared experience. And when you think about it like that, the billboard in Times Square becomes more than just advertising. It becomes a stage where one artist's expression connects with millions of people watching from completely different corners of the planet. Of course, moments like this also remind us of the power of fan communities. Without the passionate support of ARMY, would these images travel so quickly across the internet? Would they spark the same level of excitement? Fans don't just watch these events happen, they amplify them. They turn them into conversations, memories, and sometimes even legends within the fandom. And if you think about it like that, that's part of what makes the relationship between BTS and their audience so unique. It's not just artist and listener, it's storyteller and participant. So now the question turns to you. What was your reaction when you first saw the images of Park Jimin dominating that massive screen in Times Square? Did it surprise you? Did it make you proud of how far BTS has come? Or did it simply remind you why Jimin's presence continues to capture attention wherever it appears? Moments like this don't last forever. Billboards change, promotions end, and the city lights move on to the next story. But the feeling they create, those few seconds when the crowd looks up and something unexpected shines above them, can stay with people for a long time. And who knows, maybe somewhere in that crowd was someone seeing Park Jimin for the first time. Maybe that person went home curious, searched for BTS online, and discovered a world of music they had never explored before. That's how new stories begin. If you enjoyed this deep dive into this unforgettable moment, make sure you share your thoughts in the comments. What do you think about Jimin's visual impact in the MV 2.0 era? And do you believe moments like this show how powerful K-pop's global influence has become? Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next story about the music, artists, and moments that bring fans around the world together.